What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Tap. And boy, oh boy, this offseason is getting better. Thanks for joining us. My name is Michael, and this is John. John, how are you doing today as a Dolphins fan?
I'm doing great. It's a life-changing day. I've never been more excited for a season to come, and we apparently still have more in the mix. So we'll jump into why me and you were so happy today, why we're both excited to be wearing our Dolphin stuff. And I just realized I had a piece of the set fall. This
Oh,
is
no.
important to keep.
No, not the set. Not the set. Oh, my gosh, John.
Take care,
You got to put.
take care of that.
You got. You have
Take
to
care
get
of
that
that
after
later.
the show. Yeah,
Take care
yeah.
of
You
that
have to
later.
get that after the show. So, guys, we got a few housekeeping items. As far as just some other news around the league, real quick, that we want to just touch on before obviously getting to the big stuff, the meat and potatoes. Kirk Cousins extended for 2 more years up there in cold Minnesota, even though they play inside. Dropping his cap to 35, his cap hit to 35 mil this year. What a guy! What a guy!
Well, he got paid out. He got paid out now,
Yeah,
and then
dude.
he's going to get paid out later. Just spread the money out a little bit longer and keep that offense together and keep him competitive.
Honestly, he is probably one of the smartest quarterbacks. He is getting paid like a ridiculous amount of money to be. I mean, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's an above-average quarterback.
Yeah, he's one of the better starters.
He's made some money. So, how do you think the Vikings are going to do this year?
Well, there's a little bit more news coming out of that division that's going to help them be a little bit better this year, and I think that they've got a chance to make a run as the division leader. The Bears have been looking a little weak the past couple of years. They're on the up and up, but still weak on the receiver side, and that defense is looking to rebuild. And then the Lions still a few years behind, but again coming up, but not there yet. So does have a little shot to maybe sneak out this divisional win for the first time in who knows how long. Off the top of my head, I feel like it's been like 15 years that the Packers have been carrying that division.
Yeah, I don't know the last time they won. I mean, it could have been pretty recent. I'm not sure. But like you said, there is some other news coming out of there in Minnesota. Zadarius Smith, linebacker, signing up there 3 years, 45 mil. He's told the Ravens, hey, I'll come sign. Psych. And then went over there to the Vikings. Lyle Collins signing with Cincinnati, the right tackle from Dallas, bolstering the offensive line. They've added a couple other pieces like Ted Karras there in Cincy, trying to keep Joe Burrow upright and healthy. That's key.
Yeah. I mean, that was what kind of held them out of winning a Super Bowl this year. So it looks like they're going to try to just keep making pushes forward and winning that division.
You know, the Kansas City Chiefs did the same thing the year after they lost the Super Bowl. Invest a lot of money into the offensive line. Some assets. I wouldn't say money.
Well,
assets.
Well, their offensive line got embarrassed in their Super Bowl compared to the Bengals. If we remembered Patrick Mahomes' little running scheme that he had to come up with. And just to touch on the NFC North, just because, my curious mind jumps into it, the Bears actually won the NFC North back in 2018 with Mitch Trubisky, his rookie season.
Wow. But what about the Vikings? When was the last
time the Vikings won in 2017, 2015. Okay. And those are the only times the Packers haven't won the division since 2010.
All right. Wow. Definitely been a dominant, showing obviously by the Packers. Do you think, do you think, especially with Devonte Adams leaving, we'll talk about that in a bit, do you think that truly opens the door? Or do you think the Packers are going to?
Yeah, I think it does truly open the door. Their defense was very competitive the past couple of years as far as the Packers go. And I think they've lost a few key players that are going to help them take those steps back. Rodgers coming back, obviously a great thing, but they've lost their potency at the receiving core, which has always been one of their weak points. Obviously, now they do have the draft capital to possibly take steps forward in that spot. There are still a few talented receivers left in the free agency market, and they could capitalize on that. But I just don't think that I think we start seeing the Packers in not a rebuild, but a restructure and a reformat, trying to figure out what they're going to be when Aaron is gone.
I gotcha. And then finally, Allen Robinson signing with the Rams. And in turn, the Rams sent Bobby Trees, good old Robert Woods, over to the Tennessee Titans for a 6th-round pick. I think that's a great pickup for Tennessee. I really do. Once he gets back from his injury, stay on the field a little bit more and have more of an impact than Julio Jones did, who is a free agent. But I also think this is a great signing for the Rams as well. You have Matt Stafford, who is used to those dominant jump ball kind of receivers in Kenny Golladay and Calvin Johnson, adds that aspect to it. Obviously they have said that OBJ they want to keep OBJ, but his odds are starting to turn, and I think it's plus 300 right now that he's going to be a Saint.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, as soon as we saw Allen Robinson get that contract in Los Angeles, we've seen OBJ kind of playing the market a little bit. We got something else, Matt Ryan's move over to the Colts, talking about, hey, that's a great idea. OBJ's tweeting that it's such a great idea that the Colts signed him, and maybe just trying to get his name out there, be like, hey, I like what you guys did. Maybe you guys should come sign me. Get me over there. I feel like he's starting to play the market a little bit because his opportunities in the Rams are slowly dwindling. Recent reports that he's even open to coming back to Cleveland now that Baker Mayfield is likely out of there.
Yeah. No, I mean, imagine, because there, have been other rumors and stuff like that Jarvis Landry might come back. Imagine. OBJ and Jarvis return. They win a Super Bowl or make like a deep, deep run, to AFC Championship, something like that. That would probably hurt Baker Mayfield's confidence a little bit, just a little bit.
Probably a little bit more than a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we might be seeing him talking about possibly being a backup somewhere or competing for a job this offseason. So
yeah,
I think his confidence is taking a hit anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Since we're on the topic, let's just talk about it, because that is one of the topics we're going to talk about, is the whole Deshaun Watson trade. Obviously, he was traded to the Browns, signed a 5-year, $230 million contract, fully guaranteed. Wild. Got a boatload for him. But let's talk about Baker before we talk about Deshaun real quick. Originally, it was reported that the Browns wanted a first-round pick for Baker.
Yes.
Then Matt Ryan got traded for a third. Okay. Now it's like they're trying to find anybody that'll take him for anything. There was even a rumor. I don't know how true this is. There was a rumor with quote unquote sources and stuff like that a team wanted a pick in return for Baker
to take on his contract. Yeah.
To take on his contract. Wild times we live in.
Definitely one of the craziest off seasons we've seen. And I mean, we kind of saw this drama leading up towards that Deshaun Watson trade. As soon as the Browns threw their hat in the ring, it seems like Baker took that offense, took it personally, said, you don't want me, I don't want to be here. It's fine. And we kind of saw that leading up towards the end of the year after OBJ was traded over to the cut and moved over to the Rams. And the Browns didn't keep winning games, and we didn't see them being productive. Already started hearing talks of him moving in this offseason, and it's crazy that they found his replacement before they even got rid of him. I think that there was rumors coming out today that if Baker is actually cut, that Pittsburgh was ready to jump all over him and make a move for him, adding him into that fold with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. So possibly competing for a job this offseason, might get moved to a team. But as of right now, no, not a lot of trade value out there for him.
No, yeah, I think he's going to be released at the end of the day, to be honest. I mean, unless somebody throws a last round 7th, but honestly, we haven't really seen that much lately. Look at La'el Collins, could have gave him something, a 7th, a 6th, whatever it is, potentially. I mean, obviously we don't know what goes on behind the scenes and gotten him, but he became a free agent. Listen to this though. JPA Football just tweeted something out. From Brad Stainbrook. I guess he is he covers the Browns. John Johnson, the safety for the Cleveland Browns, on Instagram Live said, OBJ is coming back, but you ain't hearing from me.
Hey.
So, I mean.
Another person whose market is dwindling.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it's true, obviously. That could just be, hearsay. He could just be trying to fuel the fire, bring him back. But would be wild. Would be wild. Is there a team? Because the Panthers have already ruled themselves out. I thought that situation was kind of funny, where Baker's like, I don't really want to go to the Panthers. And
We don't want you
no, I'm
anyways.
sorry. He wanted to go to the Panthers. They said
Okay.
they're not interested, and then he said he didn't want to go to the Panthers. That's funny. That's funny to me.
Yeah, I mean,
where do you see him ending up?
let's say the Steelers don't make a move for him if he does become a free agent, and they're not the team. I think the only remaining teams that are actually quarterback needy at this point remain the Saints, the Seahawks, and maybe the Falcons if they decide to make that move. I mean, they just signed Mariota, which you would expect to be their bridge quarterback, and them just deciding to wait this year out and maybe hit on someone in next year's draft. But I mean, they could take that step. Again, I honestly think that he finds himself as a backup this year or competing with a quarterback that we're not confident in. But looking at the landscape of the quarterback market right now, it's nice to see that there's not a market.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I think the Seahawks definitely potential. The Steelers, like you said, I think are great, fit for him. If they don't draft somebody, I think they would wait until after the draft to kind of see how that plays out, in my opinion. Another place that I haven't seen mentioned that I think might be interesting, only because they have a really young quarterback who showed some flashes last year and stuff like that, especially on the crap roster he's on. But maybe the Texans, to come in and push Davis Mills a little bit. It's an upside thing. He's not going to command a lot of money. So I think that could be an upside play for the Texans. Barring they don't go a quarterback with, which they've actually actively come out and said that they're not really looking at the quarterback market in this year's draft. So
they're confident in Davis Mills, man. Give that man some credit. That man won some games. He looked good. What was he, a 5th round pick, 6th round pick? Oh, I'm sorry. No, he was a third. He was a third. He was their first pick in the draft.
Yep. First pick in the draft. So, that'd be an interesting spot for him. The Texans, I think that could be fruitful potentially for both sides. All right, Deshaun Watson. Obviously,
let's talk about this.
Barring suspension, Jacoby Brissett went there on a backup to be the backup. Okay, he's going to be suspended more than likely. It could carry over into the season as far as if he doesn't, get his shit cleared up by the season, he could not play for a while prior to being suspended. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he's going to get those cases settled or what have you. But there's going to be a suspension. It's just how long is this suspension going to be?
Maybe there's not. Maybe there's not.
No,
maybe there's a chance he started with week 1. No, fantasy people, go grab Teddy Bridgewater or Jacoby Brissett for weeks 1 through 8. Case Keenum's gone. He got moved over to the Bills for a 7th round pick. And Baker's going to be gone, meaning that you're likely going to be seeing Jacoby Brissett lose a few games. But OBJ gets there. They've got Amari Cooper currently. They've still got Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. That team's still very competitive, especially in the fact now that once Deshaun Watson gets there, if they can fill these little bit of holes they have on the receiving group, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah.
The AFC is
AFC in general is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm first of all, fantasy wise, I'm not touching Jacoby Brissett. I'd take Davis Mills over him. He's just bad. After seeing him, play 6 games for us, that would suck. If they suspend him, I think they win a couple games with Jacoby, 1 or 2. Nothing crazy. They're gonna have to rely on Nick Chubb a ton. I love this for all parties. Amari Cooper, thank the Lord, he didn't just go and get Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. So if you hold him in dynasty, he actually is gonna have value now.
Yeah.
I think value for the running backs, Kareem and Nick Chubb, great. As far as Deshaun Watson, this is the best team he's going to play on. This is going to be his best chance, Comes back, maybe shakes off a little bit of rust after suspension. I think they make a playoff push, and they could seriously contend for a Super Bowl this year.
if they can win enough, if the suspension isn't too long and they can win enough games when he's not playing,
Yeah.
yes. If the suspension's 8 games or more, you're probably looking at a low season for the Browns. There's just so many good teams in the AFC right now that you're going to probably need 10 or more wins to get into the playoffs, even as a wild card. And you're not, like you're saying, you're not doing that with Jacoby Brissett. So I don't think this is the Browns' year, and I do think that we'll see them stack up in picks this draft and depth pieces and be very, very active next year in free agency, and try to make big pushes next year. Out of the AFC teams, though, which ones do you see being actual playoff contenders this year?
Bro, I was literally thinking about asking you the same question like right after you finished speaking. Um
I've currently got 9.
Oh, in total, how many do I think that could go to the playoffs that have playoff chances, like legit chances, or who do I think is going to be in like the AFC Championship?
No, I'm sorry. Who's making the playoffs for the AFC this year out of all the divisions?
All the divisions.
Here,
The entire AFC West.
Here, I'll link you a nice little chart of all of them so it's easier to put together. Otherwise,
no, I mean, I think finishing at number 1 is the Bills. The Bills are gonna get that number 1 seed. Number 2, with the moves they've made in this offseason, and I know we have a bet that the Broncos are gonna. I said the Broncos are going to be ahead of the Chargers. Now, with the moves they've made in the offseason, I have the Chargers at number 2. Broncos at 3. Let's see. Broncos at 3. I would say the...
I'm going to write these down as you go through so we can make a graphic for later.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Hold up 1 second. Because... Oops, not AFC Championship. Just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody because I forgot. I was talking to my wife. Not like she really pays attention to me when I talk football, but I just have to talk. Especially after today, I needed to talk to somebody. I was just talking her ear off about football. And I forgot Justin Herbert for some reason. All right, so yes, I said Bills 1, Chargers 2, Broncos 3, Bengals 4. Colts 5.
Really? Okay. Surprising.
Colts 5. I don't. Titans 6, and my Dolphins 7. I had to sneak them in there.
Hold on 1 sec. I'm gonna let my dog know he needs to be.
Reg, that's not a real dog. Well, it's a real dog, but it's not here. Sorry, my dog is going ballistic now because. But anyways,
right,
how about you, John? Let's hear yours.
All right, hold up. You say you had Titans, then Dolphins?
Titans and Dolphins, yes.
All right, so if I had to rank them,
I said the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, right? Did I have that?
Yeah, you didn't have the Chiefs in there.
Okay.
So if I had to make my bets right now, I think you're looking at the Chargers 1.
Okay.
I think you're looking at Bills 2.
Okay.
I think you're looking at the controversial. I think you're looking at the Ravens at 3. If they're healthy this year.
You do you, boo.
Ravens at 3. And then I think you can give the Broncos theirs. Actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going Miami number 5 or number 4.
Woo! Hot.
Miami number 4, and then I'll give it to the Broncos. Only reason for that is I love the additions of the players in that team, and it's the new coaching staff, the new quarterback. It's everything there is new this year, and I feel like they're going to be good, but it's going to take them a little bit to get on track.
Okay.
Broncos. So I've got Chargers, Bills, Ravens, Miami, Broncos. Then I'm going to have to go over to the Bengals.
Bengals 6?
Bengals are 6, and my number 7. I'm going to have to give it to the Titans. Titans over the Colts.
Well, they're gonna. One of them's got to be a little higher because you have to put the AFC South winner up.
I mean, I'm just power ranking them, baby. But
power rank. Okay, all right.
But yeah, I mean, if you want me to do that, then Titans going at 4 and Dolphins going at 5.
Okay, all right. There we go. It's gonna be a great year. Honestly, I wish this year only. I wish. Which I guess it kind of is, but it was like baseball where you mainly play AFC teams, like your own division, like AL plays mostly AL with some NL sprinkled in. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool this year. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm so excited for the AFC. But
it's great.
Yeah. So let's jump on over. We've been talking about the Devonte Adams, the AFC West a ton. Obviously, him going over there on a massive deal, 5 years, $140 million. The Packers got a first and a second from the Raiders. And I don't think either of us put the Raiders in the playoffs. You don't think this tipped them over?
I guess not. Again, another team. They still have. This is a very, very stacked conference, and they still have a bunch of holes on defense. A handful of holes on the offensive line. Josh Jacobs is good, but he's been very unhealthy throughout his career so far. Darren Waller's been dealing with a bunch of injury concerns. And though Hunter Renfrow had a great statistical season last year,
right?
I don't think he's I don't think he's that top 15 tier receiver, top 20 tier receiver where his stats put him at last year and where he did earn the credit to be. And I think with Devonte Adams there, that offense is going to run a lot differently, but I don't think that Derek Carr is going to be enough to push them over the hump of this extremely competitive conference. Now, take the Raiders last year and take last year's NFL's teams and give the Raiders this year, and I think the Raiders make the playoffs as the division champions. I think they beat out the Chiefs by the end of the season just on wins, losses. But with how competitive this conference has gotten, no, I don't think this addition is going to be enough.
Well, who else did they add? They
added defensive edge rusher, Chandler Jones.
Got rid of
Didn't they add Chandler Jones?
Yes, they added Chandler Jones. They got rid of Yannick Ngakoue. Got rid of Carl Nassib. But obviously they re-signed or extended. Oh my God!
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby, monster he is. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty scary. But their secondary does scare me. I think that's gonna be their downfall. Secondary. Jonathan Abram hasn't really played up to what he was supposed to be. It was solid here and there last year, but they're an interesting team though. I feel like obviously new coach and things like that. He knows what he did wrong. He came out and even said it, in his press conference, why is it going to be different from the time that he was the coach of the Broncos to now? It's because he didn't listen to people. So, and that's what he said. So, maybe he does learn from his mistakes and stuff like that. Overall, though, that's going to be a hard division. I mean, you got multiple, obviously playing every team twice, plus playing other AFC teams this year. It's going to be, and not to mention, I mean, there are some very good NFC teams, of course, but
2 or 3.
Yeah, well, that's quarterbacks. I mean, the Eagles and Cowboys and all of them, they can all sneak in wins every once in a while. They're gonna get wins every once in a while. So,
yeah.
But the NFC is definitely going to be the easier road. So, fantasy outlook: Devonte Adams, where are you drafting him? Does his stock stay the same? Does his stock go down? I mean, it's harder to go up, obviously.
I mean, yeah, when you're wide receiver one, it can't go up anymore. So obviously his stock's going to go down. The matter falls to how far down does it go, and we're not going to move it too far. I think he falls from wide receiver 1 somewhere between wide receiver 5 and 7 this year. Still going to be getting, he's still that number one option in that offense. He's still going to be getting targeted a crazy amount, and he's going to be that relief for Derek Carr. They have the connection already from college. Obviously, everyone knows that they've played together, they bunked together. Yeah, they held hands when they walked down the halls and on the way to practice. You know, they rode on mopeds around campus together. It's everything. So
ice cream every Tuesday.
Oh, the ice cream was on Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday. So expect them to have a good connection at the beginning of the season and throughout. So he's going to be highly targeted, and very obviously Devonte Adams, as soon as he touches the ball, it's 2 or 50 yards. You know, there's anything's possible as soon as the ball's in his hands. So he's going to be very productive. Not as productive as he was in Green Bay. The touchdowns are going to fall. The total yards by the end of the season are going to fall. But I do think that his total opportunity stays nearly equal. So I think that's still a good placement for him in that section. Kind of worried that other people will just surpass him based on them being in better situations than him actually falling.
Right. No, I get it. Honestly, I agree. I think he's gonna be a mid wide receiver one. Very, somebody who's gonna. I know they have Darren Waller there, obviously, but I still think that Devonte Adams is Devonte Adams. I kind of think this might help him. Maybe not as far as volume is concerned. They're not going to have to force the ball to him, but I do think that he's going to be very consistent week in, week out. Get his targets, get his 7 to 8 targets, and finish as a mid-range wide receiver one. I am very interested. I will say this I know you kind of said, I don't know if you said you're not interested. I don't expect Hunter Renfrow to finish as a top end wide receiver 2, but I do expect him to finish as a wide receiver 2. I think he is going to be a nice, possession receiver for them, and catch the ball 70 times or so this year. So I do think that'll give him a nice bump, and I think he might be overlooked with this trade. I don't have his ADP and stuff like that.
I'm trying to pull up ADPs, but it's still so early in the offseason with all these moves that they're going to shift a lot between now and then. As of right now, they have Devonte Adams sitting at wide receiver 5. And let me see where we've got Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow sitting at wide receiver 25 and actually took a jump of 2 spots after the Devonte Adams trade.
I mean, that makes sense. I do think he's gonna. I would take him. I would take him.
I think wide receiver 25 is a little too rich for me. You've still got DK Metcalf, DJ Moore in that area.
Yeah, but who's throwing them the ball? I know their names. They're gonna get there.
They're gonna get someone.
Targets,
wow. Amon-Ross St. Brown still sitting at wide receiver 21.
Ooh,
that's going to hurt
John.
A lot of people, man.
You know why? It's because you've been hyping him up so much.
I know. Everyone needs to calm down because I can't even get hyped on him anymore because he's starting to get valued so high.
Listen, if you're listening to us right now, comment where you think Devonte Adams is going to finish. Wide receiver. What wide receiver rank do you think Devonte Adams will finish this year on the Raiders? So let's jump in to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan traded to the Colts, 3rd-round pick. All I got to say about the Falcons is they're screwed for a while. I mean, eating $43 million for a freaking oh my god,
quarterback that's
not even on our team. He's not even on our team. 43 million. Wild. That's just they're gonna be bad for a little bit. I feel bad for Kyle Pitts.
On the bright side,
let's hear it.
It's only for 1 year. All their dead cap is gone by the end of this year, and that's for Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Dante Fowler, and Tyler Davison. 62.7 mil in dead cap right now.
That's a quarter of the cap.
And you have Calvin Ridley sitting in suspension for the year.
Wild. Does he count towards the cap?
No. If you're suspended for the season, your cap is not taken into account.
Cool.
So technically,
I know they don't pay him.
They're actually $4 million in negative cap space right now. I'm sure they figure out a way to make that not an issue.
They did sign, obviously, Cordell Patterson, so that probably has something to do with it. because by
Yes.
4:30, by 4 p.m. or whatever it was last Monday, everybody had to be under
Above
the
the cap. Yeah.
So,
Over the cap.
so yeah,
Trademark.
yeah. So, that's gonna be an interesting team. You know, it's gonna be an interesting. I think it's just gonna be interesting. You know, to say the least. I do like Cordero Patterson because I feel like that's going to be their main offensive weapon again. So, and obviously they felt a reason to bring him back. Don't think they're going to do well, but they're going to have to pass a lot. You know, they're going to be down quite a bit.
Yeah, and they're not in a situation where they're sitting on like multiple first round picks in the future or anything like that. So they're in a rough situation.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So, Matt Ryan though, the Colts.
Yes.
Let's talk about them. What do you think? Are the Colts one competent quarterback? I don't want to say competent. Carson Wentz, I think, is a competent quarterback. He makes very bad mistakes. Were the Colts one consistent quarterback away from making the playoffs and actually making a nice run in the playoffs?
Honestly, I don't even think. Obviously, they were the team to make the playoffs last year.
Yes.
If not for the Jacksonville game or any, everyone wants to credit the one Jacksonville game loss, but
There's multiple.
At any point in the season, any loss that should have been a win would have turned it. Jacksonville's just the easiest one because they were quote unquote the worst team in the league that year, but they also beat some of the better teams in the league.
Right.
So it's hard for me to say that they weren't one last year when they were right on the cusp come game time. So Matt Ryan's just going to be a much more consistent quarterback. And if you think about it, we've kind of already had the older, immobile, consistent quarterback there in Indianapolis recently, and that's Phillip Rivers. His arm was a little dead, and Matt Ryan's arm seems to still be in good shape after last season. Kyle Pitts was able to get 1,000 yards. The hodgepodge of bench receivers that the Falcons had to line up every week were able to get themselves some nice stat lines week in, week out. And the Colts need a little bit more on offense besides Jonathan Taylor and a group of wide receiver 2s and 3s trying to push together an offense. And Matt Ryan's great, but we've never seen him without an elite wide receiver or someone that's an elite talent at their position at a receiving group with Kyle Pitts this year. He's always had a Roddy White, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, even when Julio wasn't there, or a great running back in the backfield that's been able to catch the ball there. So the only thing that he has going forward is the fact that he is aged, mature, smart, consistent, makes good plays, and can move the ball a lot. But I don't think that they're competitive again this year, just based off the fact of the entirety of the conference getting much better while they kind of took a small step forward.
Right. See, I definitely think this year is going to be difficult for him. Like you said, the rest of the conference the whole conference pretty much. I don't want to say the whole most of the conference took a big step forward, like you said. However, I do think that with their defense, they still need a left tackle. They still need a left tackle. I mean, that's going to be pretty important. But if they can get that, I do think consistent quarterback play will get them to the playoffs. I think they'll win their division this year. I really do. And that'll get them to the playoffs. They might win a game or two. Matt Ryan does. I don't want to compare. I know Phillip Rivers, was pretty consistent that year. He got him to the playoffs. However, Matt Ryan now is better than Phillip Rivers was then. And Phillip Rivers didn't have this. He had Marlon Mack.
Great running back. Great running back.
He was very good, but
before
he's not
his injury,
Jonathan Taylor.
No.
And he had a rookie Jonathan Taylor who wasn't used nearly enough, and Marlon Mack. So I do think that with that running game, and yes, I agree with you 100%. They need to go get another wide receiver. They need a wide receiver opposite of Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's a very good wide receiver. I think he's going to have a great year, but he cannot do it himself whatsoever. Jack Doyle's gone. It's more like Cox there. Zach Pascal left. So they definitely need to invest in a wide receiver in this draft. If they can get a solid wide receiver, even a solid wide receiver 2, I think Michael Pittman can blossom into a team's wide receiver 1. If they can get a solid wide receiver 2, I'm not saying top 10 like wide receiver here. I'm just saying a usable wide receiver 1 with the running game they have and the play action pass they can run off of and things like that, and the blocking that they'll get from their offensive line. I do think they'll win their division. I think they'll win maybe a playoff game or so. But they're definitely they're not last year's Colts. Last year's Colts, I'm pretty everybody.
Last year's Colts was set up for success.
Right, but they choked. And that's the thing.
Yes.
Matt Ryan, as much as everybody says he chokes, he doesn't,
I mean, he chokes in different ways. He doesn't cause a bunch of turnovers. I mean, in Super Bowls he might have, but he doesn't cause a bunch. He doesn't.
He did not.
He did not
have
what?
A turnover he didn't have a turnover that Super Bowl. He actually if you watch the because I watched it the other day after we were texting or whatever. If you watch it, he made 2 big throws, but instead of running the ball and kicking the field goal, they decided to pass the ball. Offensive line broke down, sack, and then a holding call that pushed him back out of field goal range on 3rd down. Boom, 4th, they punted. So Matt Ryan gets a lot of heat for that. I gave him heat for that. But I think if you take a step back, I think he did what he needed to. Unfortunately, I think it was all out.
Yeah, he didn't throw an interception, but he was the one that fumbled the ball and lost the fumble. That gave the Patriots the ball back right after they had just scored.
No, it didn't. No, he fumbled it. He recovered it.
I'm looking at a stat sheet right now. Matt Ryan, fumble loss.
Oh, yeah, the fumble loss. Well, I'm pretty sure that had to have been earlier in the game because on the last drive, when they were in field goal range, the only reason why they did not kick a field goal was because of holding call, and the line broke down immediately and turned into a sack. Well, sack, fumble, they recovered, then the holding call came.
It happened. I don't have it in front of me. I'm pretty sure because it was a 28-3 comeback, so it wasn't just one drive. It was part of the 3-31 comeback that helped them score. I want to say, wasn't there an onside kick too?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I need to go back and watch that. It's been a while.
So, anyways, I think this drastically is a not drastic, but a very, very good upgrade over Carson Wentz. It will push the Colts up and over that hump, over the Titans. They'll win their division. And then finally, the news of the day, the news of the year, the news of the millennium, John. The millennium.
Yeah.
First of all, we signed Teron Armstead, left tackle. The Dolphins did. Whoop, whoop.
Automatically made it one of the best free agency periods that I've had as a Miami Dolphins fan.
And then Chris Greer said, hey, wait till you see this. Boom. Tyreek Hill is now a Miami Dolphin. 4-year extension, $120 million, 72.2 guaranteed. We gave up a first this year, a second this year, a fourth this year, a fourth next year, and a sixth next year. Sounds like a lot, but I don't think it is.
It is not at all. That is a late first-round pick, 29th pick overall. Hey, have it. Take it.
We needed a wide receiver anyway.
We did. We needed one more guy. We needed a stud. We need either a great field stretcher or a great possession receiver. Just someone else to complement the amount of speed that we had. So we got more speed.
Both.
We got more speed. We got the most speed in the NFL. The top four fastest players on the NFL field. I'm sorry, the fastest 4 players on a play in the NFL. 2 of them were Tyreek Hill and 2 of them were Raheem Mostert.
Wild.
In the past 2 years. So we've got the 2 fastest guys in the NFL. lined up with a extremely, possibly one of the faster guys in the NFL and the other wide receiver. Fill the holes at the offensive line, possibly going from the worst offensive line the past 2 years combined to maybe a top 14 competitive offensive line.
Maybe. That's
Hopefully.
all we need. That's all
While
we
keeping
need.
our number 5 defense together. I'm pumped.
I can't believe this.
Pumped.
It's wild. It's wild. It started off with the Teron Armstead news, bro. Every 5 seconds, I was refreshing my Twitter feed for 2 days. Saw him in Houston, saw him back in Texas. Kind of got a little bummed. Then boom, news came out. He signed with the Dolphins. Next, random out of the blue. If you woke up and told me this morning that Tyreek Hill was going to be a Dolphin, I would have laughed in your face. And he's a Dolphin. He's a Dolphin.
If you ever would have told me Tyreek was in the lead up to the trade talks, I even said my mind just cannot fathom Tyreek Hill as a Dolphin. Me waking up on a Sunday and saying, oh, I can't wait to watch Tua throw to Tyreek today.
I still can't. So
Feels weird.
And the best part is the Jets. They didn't get him, even though they wanted him. And there's salty tears. I love it. Thank you, Jets fans, for that as well. Now, obviously, fantasy football. Actually, before we get to the fantasy football part, let's talk a little bit more about the football aspect. Then we'll talk about the fantasy implications and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Okay. Everybody is not everybody. I don't want to say everybody because that groups a lot of people. Groups everybody in there. Some people are still saying, doesn't matter. He doesn't have a quarterback who can throw the ball long. Doesn't matter. 2 of this, 2 of that. It's always coming back to Tua for some reason. I said it when, to you and a couple other people when the news first broke. If we can pull this off and keep both firsts that we have next year, successful trade, 100%. God forbid, I believe in Tua. God forbid Tua does not work out, and I am wrong. We have 2 firsts next year and a quarterback class that is going to be very good. Very good. We trade up, use both of them, trade up, draft one. Boom, done. Or let's say one comes on the market, a proven quarterback comes onto the market next year. We then have 3 firsts to trade, 2 next year, 1 the following year. Bam, we've got a quarterback. There's a plan. There's a plan.
I'm wearing my Tua jersey. We're using those picks to help this man win another Super Bowl after we win it this year. So yeah, we're gonna have to get we're gonna have to get some new corners after this season. Once Xavier Howard's got a ring on his finger, he's gonna want some more money after getting more money. So he's probably gonna be gone. Then Byron Jones is gonna be a Super Bowl winner, so he's gonna want more money.
How do you feel this plays out? Truthfully,
I think we make the playoffs and win a game or 2.
Game or 2, nice.
I don't think we win a Super Bowl this year, but
I don't either.
But we saw the Bengals go from a laughable franchise to Super Bowl team this year. I would say our weapons are just as good, and I would say our offensive line is better. If our defense can play like they did at the end of last season and the end of the season before that, not how they do in the beginning part of the seasons for some reason, we could make a run. Emphasis on could, but any team could make a run.
Yeah, definitely. All right, fantasy time. What does this do to Tyreek's fantasy value?
I think this definitely takes a hit. You're not looking for 150-yard games multiple times a season out of Tyreek right now.
No. I mean, I think there will be. A couple. He's going to take a couple to the house. I mean, that's just what he does. Everybody wants to talk, and this is what kind of bugs me about this. Everybody wants to talk about the deep ball, the deep ball, that, blah, 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 blah. That's not acting as if that's all Tyreek Hill does. Like, that is not what Tyreek Hill can only do. The reason he is so good is there's plenty of receivers who, Marquise Goodwin, could burn past people, okay, and catch a long 60-yard touchdown. He's done it.
Yeah.
He's done it multiple times. He can do it, even in his 30s, okay? That's not why Tyreek Hill is so good. It's because he can catch a screen and take it to the house. He can catch a slant and outrun everybody and take it to the house. That is why he's so good.
And he's got very, very, very good ball carrier vision once that ball's in his hand, or while he's running his routes and adjusting his routes to find that open spot. Him and Patrick Mahomes did definitely have a connection.
Yeah, and I will say that's going to be missed. I will say that.
do think
Watching
that-
that on Sundays.
I do think that it can transfer over, though. I don't think that it's going to be a completely lost connection. I think that a little bit of work, especially because Tua is used to track star receivers. I mean, Alabama, every year that he was a starter there, had some of the fastest receivers out of college.
Devonte Smith and Jalen Waddle.
So
I mean, that's
I
doesn't
I
get
do
much
thi-
faster.
Yeah, I do think he takes a little bit of a hit. And if you guys really want to dig into it and you guys want to say, hey, Tua doesn't throw a deep ball, his average depth of target is trash, blah, blah, blah. Saw a stat earlier that Patrick Mahomes is actually ranked 5th lowest in average depth of target or average depth of target. And Tua is now 4th lowest. So they only moved down one spot. I think it was from 8.03 to 7.92.
This is what I'll say about stats. You can make any stats to skew any point of view you want. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes potentially a top 5 quarterback of all time. Potentially, still has a long way to go, long career ahead of him. But all that can be done is football played this year, and I truly think that Tua is going to be prove a lot of people wrong. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. He's actually going to have some time in the pocket compared to last year when everyone says last year's offense was tailored to him. Yeah, I mean it was technically tailored to him in an RPO offense, but when you cannot do the first letter of that acronym, I mean, how tailored to it is it really? I mean, it's a run pass option. If you're not running the ball, more than 4 yards a carry, fucking less 3.2 I think was our average. That's horrible. I mean, just you're not going to be successful. On top of that, you've got the offensive line can't pass protect, can't pass run block, just horrible. So they're fixing that. KBKC said it's a sad day for him and a great day for us. And you're right.
You're damn right.
And I am going to eat this up until the season comes, until we fail, which I don't think we will. Mike McDaniel, the real deal. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, Tyreek Hill, yes, I think he takes a bump. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1. Low end, though. I do. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1. Jalen Waddle, I think, can be a top 15. I think he's going to get the ball in his hands more. I think he's than Tyreek will, as weird as that sounds. Also, over under, how many touchdown passes does Cedric Wilson throw?
I'll give him 2.
Yeah, I'm saying 2. I'm saying 2.
That's fair.
I'm saying 2. I'm saying 1 to Jalen, 1 to Tyreek.
Saying they give him 3 attempts this season and he throws 66%.
Yeah. Also, do you think Jalen or Tyreek will throw a touchdown or a pass? Let's just say a nice pass.
Throw a pass, one of them, yes. Touchdown, probably not, because we're probably not going to try it on the goal line. We'll probably try it at 2nd and 17 on the 35.
Yeah. I was watching an end around of Tyreek, and I'm like, damn, imagine, because everybody just came towards him. I'm like, imagine just Jalen Waddle just running down the field wide open.
Yeah.
But he just throws it to him.
I mean, it's crazy. I swear, and I know this is a fantasy football and football show, but Madden next year for the Dolphins is going to be insane, the amount of speed they're going to have.
Yeah, wild. So it's going to be very OP. But so those are my Jalen Waddle. What about Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds? Are either of those guys – obviously Raheem Mostert's not going to be here. for the full season. I know he said he's ahead of schedule, but he's got the injury. Are you touching either of these guys in fantasy? And we also still have the draft and stuff like that.
I'm gonna have to.
Do either of these guys like
I'm gonna have
really?
to open up that handy dandy ADP sheet that I had open and see if I can find where they're currently sitting at. But I honestly only if they're pretty cheap. They're not home run hitters, either of them, and I don't think either of them are going to be sitting at a position to where you're looking to get your running back one at either spot. So it really comes down to it. So let me see if I can find. Let's see right
Chase
now.
Edmonds right now is RB25, just behind Kareem Hunt, just in front of Damian Harris. Raheem Mostert RB27, Myles Gaskin RB29. To be honest, I'm not gonna take Edmonds. Michael Carter is actually behind them. I would rather have Carter
Then all
right
of them,
now
yeah.
than all of them. So I'm gonna probably skip out on the Dolphins running backs.
Yeah,
Depending,
so
obviously, we have a long way to go until fantasy.
yeah, so the ADPs that I'm looking at has Edmonds at 31, just behind CEH, above Kareem Hunt. Again, you're right, Michael Carter down below them, and then Raheem, the Dream, is sitting at 43.
Wow.
Gus Edwards, Chris Carson, James Robinson in that area, Darrell Henderson. So I might be interested in him as like a later grab. If I decided to go a little RB heavy, and I need to grab that guy that I can wait to really take advantage of once he's on the team. And then Myles Gaskin, I think you're looking at someone that should be undrafted.
Yeah, I'm not really touching him. I do think that I think that if that is the case as far as Raheem Mostert goes, I think he will be the number one back as soon as he's healthy fully. Unless Chase Edmonds just blows, the socks off of everybody. But I think at that price point, Raheem would probably be the one to own as a longer term play. So yeah. Anyways,
what are you thinking about? And this is someone we don't have any news on, but since we're talking fantasy, what do you think about Rashad Penny? He was just signed on a 1-year prove-it deal with the Seahawks to play along with Chris Carson next year. Last year, he was the RB1 through the.
Oh no, we lost John.
One in fantasy playoffs. This was without Chris Carson.
Did you just stop talking for a second, or did you pause? Or did you?
My internet connection is very unstable. Sorry, yeah, it looks like my internet wants to kick me off.
Rashad Penny, I'm actually very interested in.
Me as well.
1-year prove-it deal. Obviously, he's had health concerns. What's his ADP at right now? Because I don't think it's going to be that high.
See, right now it's at 33, but I think it's going to be dropping a lot. RB 33.
Where's Chris Carson right now?
Chris Carson is sitting at RB.
He's lower, isn't he?
Surprisingly, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, RB 42.
Yeah, see, I think recency bias plays a lot into that at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, Rashad is definitely the guy who I'd rather have. But, we'll see how it goes when, the closer we get. All right, let's talk about, obviously there's two sides to this trade. Kansas City Chiefs, and then we will get out of here.
I think you're looking at the decline of the dynasty that was built up and torn down very, very quickly. This kind of a casualty of signing a guy to a $500 million contract and a receiver wanting to get paid as the guy that's the recipient of the quarterback of the $500 million contract. Someone's got to be putting up those stats with the quarterbacks putting up those stats right alongside him. So it sucks. I was actually, along with everyone else, really hyped for the Chiefs to kind of be the next big dynasty, but I think we're looking at the destruction of it. The defense has taken a lot of hits in this free agency period. Tyrann Mathieu gone. They've replaced him with a younger Justin Reed.
He's good. No, he's
good. He's good.
I would say he's going to be just as good as Tyrann.
Yeah, he's going to be very, very good. And then obviously that receiving core so far, the only addition is Juju Smith-Schuster, who can be very solid. He'll be a really good receiver there, very solid in that offense, and he'll be used in probably a much new way than we're used to him being. We know how Andy Reid can get creative with those receivers, and kind of pull the talent out of them that they need. So I think that you're looking at them finishing maybe fourth in a division.
Hmm. I fourth. Wow. I think. Yeah. No. I think you're right.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
at the same time, bro, Andy Reid is such a good coach. Andy Reid is such a good coach. I don't think you're not because you're not going to replace. You're not just going to replace Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong.
no,
However,
no, no way, no.
I do think they can get a solid wide receiver. I don't think Juju's going to be their one. I think they're going to get a nice young guy. Whether they use both of their draft picks to trade up, I would love to see like Chris Olave go there.
Drake London would be nice there.
Drake London. I mean, you know, we're throwing names out here. Odell Beckham. You know, Jarvis Landry goes there. Some, you know, well, they don't need really Jarvis Landry, but with Juju there. So, but somebody else out there, I think, you know, could. I don't think we see. I think their defense, like it has been, is going to be their biggest issue. You know, obviously Tyreek Hill's a big hit. Very excited though for Travis Kelce. I think he might be overdrafted though, depending on what they do at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ian says we did it. Ian says we did it. Ian P says we did it. What did we do? I'm assuming you're talking about the Dolphins. I am so excited. If you're a Dolphins fan, I am freaking ecstatic.
Yeah, if you are a Dolphins fan, make sure you scroll back and listen to the amount of excitement we had as soon as the news broke. Wish I could have just dropped everything I was doing today, so me and you could have went live right there.
Oh my God!
This could have been part of the excitement and interactions that we had to deal with all day.
I just freaked out. And apparently we're not done. So, but anyways, what do you think of Travis Kelce? I do think there is a possibility they finish fourth in their division, but I do trust Andy Reid and I do trust Patrick Mahomes. That's the only reason why I have them finishing third and making the playoffs. I said they made the play. No, I did not. No, I did not.
You did not.
So,
neither of us had them in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
yes,
Travis
sir.
Kelce is going to be a incredible dynasty buy, or not dynasty buy, redraft pick this year. He's probably going to be getting a 10% increase in his targets from last year. Obviously, not going to be taking over that full share, as that's going to get spread over to whatever receivers they decide to bring in there. But that safety blanket is going to continue to be that. But my biggest concern for him is he is that team's number one receiving option now. No 1A, no 1B. He is the number one. Without Tyreek Hill there, teams have been putting a lot of emphasis on taking that deep ball away by playing two deep safeties and deep coverage and giving up that middle and daring them to play it shallow, which is what helped the Chiefs go from losing so many games in the beginning part of the season to kind of turning it around after making their adjustments on how teams have changed. So I'm afraid that they might lose that availability on the underneath, and we might see Travis Kelce's total catches go down and yards go up, or they're going to play him even more shallow than they have been playing him recently, and he's going to get more catches for less yards end of the day. So definitely still touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
More touchdowns.
More or equal. I don't think he's going to go down in the touchdown category. It's a sticky stat, so it's hard to, or not a sticky stat, so it's hard to say. If he falls down at the one, the next play could be Josh Gordon. So,
Yeah. So, anyways, oh my gosh, guys, we fucking did it. Tyreek Hill is a Miami Dolphin.
Oh, I thought
we're going to the playoffs. We're winning a Super Bowl. Maybe not, but we're at least going to have a fun offseason. I can guarantee you that because, damn, we did it. We did it. We did it.
Those Super Bowl tickets ready, Mike.
Oh, my gosh. And apparently we're not done. I don't buy the Deebo Samuel rumors and shit like that. However, I do think we get another offensive lineman. I will say this, though. Would be wild if we somehow pull off Deebo Samuel. Would be wild.
I think there's no need for him, and he's up for his extension as of right now. So We don't have the money for him.
I think next year's is last year.
No, he's
and
extension
then-
eligible right now. AJ Brown, everyone from that receiving class is extension eligible.
Well, no, eligible, yes, but
I mean, it's not,
have
they
to
don't
get
need to
it.
do it, but
Right.
teams can do it. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Brown gets a deal done early into this season rather than being someone that's waiting at the end of next season.
Yeah. So, boy. All right, guys. Next episode. Oops, just knocked everything down.
Nice.
Next episode. Obviously, there are some pro days. Pro days. Everybody's going wild over Malik Willis, obviously, with the wild-ass throw he made. Listen, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. Let's not get overhyped, though. Remember what we did with Zach Wilson?
We can
Not
also talk about how
y'all.
Kenny Pickett's hands inexplicably grew.
Yes, they did grow. Apparently, when he grips the ball, though, they're closer to 9 3/8. So, double jointed, whatever that means. Also, Matt Corral, solid, not bad.
Sam Howell,
pretty,
the sleeper
pretty
of the
good.
draft.
I did not actually see it. I only saw Matt Corral. I only saw Malik Willis, and I only saw Kenny Pickett highlights.
Yeah, man. There's rumors of flying that Sam Howell is going to be the steal of the draft.
Could be. So yeah, we will definitely, talk about them next time. That's gonna be fun.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be enjoyable.
All right, guys. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you guys are listening back to this on the podcast, leave us a little rating and review. And can't wait to see you guys again, Mike. It was a beautiful time seeing that beautiful face, geared up in those beautiful colors. I'm ready for a beautiful season.
Let's go. I know we still have so long, but anyways, guys, we love you. Mwah.